We are so thrilled to be partnering with Hinge. Hinge is the dating app designed to be deleted. As you all know, I'm a huge Hinge advocate as I met my partner of almost 3 years on the app. Even before meeting him, Hinge was always my go-to app because I met more relationship-minded people here and had some great dates. Clearly, I haven't been on the app for a little while, but I re-downloaded it to check out some of the new features. One that stood out to me was the voice prompt, my best friend's take on why you should date me, where your friend can hype you up. Not only does this make the profile creation less daunting, but it's not always easy to see your own green flags. So to test it out, I asked Yue some fun prompts to get her take on what I could put if I was dating again. So the first one, how long have we known each other? What was your first impression of me and how has that changed?
Julie and I have known each other for almost 10 years. My first impression of Julie was that she's very social, but I've learned that she has a lot more depth to her beyond the social butterfly that she is.
My next prompt, what do you think are my green flags?
I would say she's deeply loyal. She believes in love, curious mindset, and she is fearlessly ambitious.
And then last but not least, what kind of friend am I?
Julie is the kind of friend who will always have your back, no matter what.
Damn, that feels nice to hear. So download Hinge and try voice prompts today. Then find someone worth deleting the app for. If you've been listening to the pod, you know I'm marking my calendar for the big sale from Last Bottle Wines, one of our wonderful sponsors. If you don't already know, they're a Napa-based online wine shop that offers 30 to 70% off retail. And the best part, there's no subscriptions, no fees, and no minimum purchase, just a daily email with really great wine. And as I mentioned, they're having a massive sale. Their marathon sale is coming up on March 28th and 29th. They flip that one wine per day rule on its head and instead offer back-to-back, two-back deals. That means wines are only up on the site for a couple minutes at a time. We got a preview order with the mini marathon package of some of their favorites, and I'm telling you, it's a sale you want to get in on. And the best part is we're offering Dateable listeners 10% off your first order with code DATEABLE. Sign up at lastbottlewines.com and use the code DATEABLE and find out why Last Bottle is the most fun way to discover and buy amazing wine.
Hi, I'm Yue Xu.
And I'm Julie Krafchick.
We're active daters turned dating sociologists.
Here to dive into everything modern dating and relationships.
Welcome to the Dateable Podcast. It's time for another brunch talk where we dive into your dating questions, conundrums, issues, problems, celebrations, whatever it may be related to dating. And we will dissect it as much as we can using our dateable brains.
I thought you were going to be like superpowers because we have them.
Okay, I like that better. Yes, brains better than superpowers.
I don't know. Brain is pretty good too. So much to dissect all the time.
All the time, including this question for this episode. The question is, how do you differentiate between an anxious attachment response versus trusting your gut?
Whew, this is a good one. And thank you for the listener that wrote in. They sent very nice review. So again,
Yes.
call out if you want to get your brunch talks bumped up. But it says, absolutely love this podcast. Very relatable, especially as I re-entered the dating pool a couple years ago. Would love your thoughts on a topic about anxious attachment versus trusting your gut. And then the listener continues to say, especially after the situation like Yue experienced, how do you differentiate between the two?
I still go back to Nikki Novo's episode when we interviewed her for the second time. And she talked about how listening to whatever your body's telling you and just getting curious of where that could be coming from. So I totally understand if you went through a UA situation. I love that we're going to coin that a UA situation where you found out your partner was cheating on you, that you listen to your body and ask, is this coming from the fear and the mistrust from the previous partner, or is it coming from a factual situation, or did I find something that is feeding into this? And then getting curious about the root of that problem and then talking to your partner about it.
This is one that I struggled with for a long time.
Yeah.
Is it my anxiety or is it actually like a bad situation? And I should listen to my intuition. And I think what Nikki was saying with her episode, we get wrong with trusting our gut is that it is an answer.
Yeah.
That we expect it to be an answer.
Right.
And all it is a feeling similar to actually the anxious attachment. So I think maybe it's not an either or. And that by thinking about it so much like, is it my gut or is it my anxious attachment? You're actually just spiraling the anxiety even more, overthinking.
Yes.
What if it's just like, I have this feeling, I'm going to listen to it, I'm going to honor it, I'm going to learn, because all Nikki was talking about was using intuition to chase curiosity. So it's I'm going to learn, and then I'm going to realize what's a fact versus what's in my head. I'll go back to the UA situation.
Oh boy.
But you felt something that night, right?
Yes.
Where we went out for dinner. After the dinner, when your partner was like, I'm going out, you were like, something feels weird.
Yeah.
And at that point, that's when you actually found the evidence. And it's because you had a gut feeling and something told you that. If you had not found anything or talked to your partner, ideally, I'm not going to say everyone should go snooping if they feel any feeling. When you actually talk to the person, then you'll learn. You'll find out what is actually factual and what is not.
Yes.
In your case, you found out, right?
Yes. And if I were to do my situation all over again, I would have brought something up the first time I felt the need to go through his phone. Because that was not the first time, but the very first time I should have said something. I'm feeling a little uneasy and I have this temptation to go through your phone. Is there anything we should talk about? I would guarantee you he wouldn't have fessed up to anything.
No.
But at least it gave him an opportunity to say, I'm out, this is not working. I want to leave this situation. Or to say, I am feeling X, Y, and Z about us. Maybe we take some time apart. I feel like that could have given him a better chance to exit the situation, and it would have avoided all that heartache from myself of seeing the actual evidence. So I should have trusted my gut the first time.
I love having the actual conversation, but what about in the situation where he's like, nope, everything is fine, and your gut is still like, something feels off still.
Yeah.
What do you do then?
Go through his fucking phone.
I mean, I think at the end of the day, too, the question, is it the person or is it yourself?
Yeah.
Because I know, like, I remember talking to a friend of mine and she was like, I know my partner is incredible. Like, I know he's like the best guy I've ever been with, and they are married today with kids. And she's like, I still feel anxious sometimes, and I know it's coming from myself. So having the ability to understand, like, is it actually something your partner is making you feel versus how you're feeling on your own? Like, if you know yourself and you know you've had a perpetual cycle of like feeling anxious in certain situations, it's probably not your partner. Like, I'll use my example. I remember, like, for me, like, my one thing was not getting texts back. That gave me such anxiety. Like, I would start these stories in my head, like, this person lost interest, they no longer want to be with me, whatever it is. I knew, though, that this was not my partner. Like, this happened with every single person I was ever with.
Right.
So that at this point, the common denominator is myself. And it's not to say that sometimes maybe those partners weren't right for me either, because the feeling like proceeded when I was with them, but also I have to take ownership as well, that I never like shared it with them and talked about it. So in this case, to get ahead of that anxiety, it was like, okay, if my partner didn't respond right away, I needed to share that. And like, honestly, the times that he didn't, he was like sleeping. Like, it wasn't like, this big thing, but I still got anxious. So I guess I'm using this as an example of where I don't know if trusting my gut would have actually been good, because I would have been like, oh my God, it's over when someone's just sleeping. So you have to like just be able to have the conversation, put out what you're feeling and see the reaction and how you're still feeling after.
But something you said earlier, I think rings so true, which is whether it's anxiety or it's something that is truly happening, it is evidence that something is going on for you.
Yeah.
And in most cases, your partner or your relationship is not fulfilling your needs in some way. So the first question to ask is, did I set up my partner for success? Did I communicate my needs? Did I give them the opportunity to meet my needs? And if you have given them the opportunity to, then the second thing to do is to communicate that I'm feeling anxious because of this. Like in your example, yeah, your partner was asleep and didn't text back, but maybe next time he needs to let you know that I'm napping for the next 3 hours or
Right.
whatever, right? You're probably not going to get a text back. That is the kind of dance we must be able to do in a relationship. All that anxiety shouldn't be placed on you for you to say, well, that's my responsibility to work on and get rid of. No, it's your responsibility to work with your partner to make sure that your anxiety is managed.
Yeah. And that was also like a sure sign for me to know I was the right person, because when I did say it, he was like, oh, I'll make sure to be conscious of this.
Yes.
And from that day was very conscious. Like you said, like if there was an extended period or something,
yes,
would share that. And, I think at the end of the day, it's a dual responsibility. It's the responsibility with your partner, but it's also a responsibility with yourself. Like I've also had to do work on my own to be like, okay, this isn't just with partners. Like I feel like this sometimes happens even with like friends or other people. I have to step back and be like, what else could be happening?
yes.
Maybe they're mad at me. Maybe our relationship's over, or maybe something else is going on. Like this happened with one of my best friends the other day. Like I saw she read my text and didn't respond.
Ooh.
And like, it's such a ridiculous thing because I know this is like one of my best friends. She obviously like wouldn't just like ghost me. But because this is a thing for me, it did cross my mind for a split second. And I had to be like, actually, it could be X, Y, and Z. And of course, it ended up being something that had nothing to do with me at all. Something she was going through. So doing that too, it's a combo, in my opinion.
Yes. End of the day, don't be too hard on yourself. Don't judge yourself for feeling anxiety and trying to decipher if it's anxiety or your gut. It's like, use it as a clue.
Yeah.
Something's off.
Yep.
Something's wrong. There may not be anything detrimental happening, but I need to get to the bottom why I'm feeling this way.
So before we keep going, such a great topic, I want to go into a couple messages from our sponsors.
This episode is sponsored by Via. We all know there are things that can help set the mood in the bedroom, but did you know a little THC could also do that? Yes, Via has developed a unique blend of pleasure-enhancing cannabinoids, libido-strengthening herbs, and a low dose of THC all into one mind-blowing gummy called High Love. This gummy, wow, it will awaken your senses, increase blood flow, and intensify any sexual experience. I've been pleasantly surprised by the High Love gummies because it is just the right amount of THC for me to have a good time without feeling sleepy. And hey, if THC is not your thing, Via also offers a wide array of other gummies without it. And everything legally ships in 50 states with discreet packaging directly to your door. So if you're over 21, you can get 15% off and a free pack of award-winning Dreams THC plus CBN sleep gummies with our exclusive code DATEABLE at viahemp.com. That's VIIAHEMP.com. Let the gummies work their magic. Head to viahemp.com and use the code DATEABLE to receive 15% off and one free sample of their Sleepy Dream gummies. That's viahemp.com and use the code DATEABLE at checkout. Take your passion and pleasure to a whole new level with High Love from Via Hemp. This episode is made possible by Badlands Pets. As you all know, Mojo, my precious baby, is the reason why I found love in the first place. He made me feel love again. So I would do anything to ensure his health and longevity. And actress Katherine Heigl and I have that in common. She's helped save over 16,000 dogs through her foundation. And after doing a ton of research, she feels there's one place we can look to improve any dog's health, and that's their food. So fortunately, she found that just by adding a few special superfoods to her dog's food, she saw huge transformations in their health. So she's made a 20-minute video explaining step by step how anyone can do the same thing to see incredible changes in their dog's health. I've definitely re-looked at what I'm feeding Mojo and making sure that, hey, he only has one life to live, and I want to make sure it's the best damn life. So if you want to keep your dog healthy and happy, go to badlandsfood.com/dateable and watch Catherine's video right now. Again, that's badlandsfood.com/dateable. Living with ADHD can be a challenge, and dating with ADHD is definitely a challenge. We've heard many of you say, but finding the right care and proper tools needed to succeed can be life-changing. Done is an online ADHD care platform that can get you all the resources you need to help manage your ADHD
ADHD. Online visits, refills, and a 24/7 care team made for you. In just 1 minute, Dunn's online assessment can help kickstart your ADHD treatment journey. With experienced clinicians, worry-fill refills, and online visits, you can start getting personalized care as soon as today or tomorrow. So contact an expert team that can help you around the clock and get a personalized treatment plan just for you. Here's how you do it. Take a free 1-minute assessment and book an appointment with a licensed ADHD clinician as soon as the next day. Get continuous care, one-click refills, insurance coverage, and 24/7 care team support with Dunn for just $79 a month, and pharmacy copays as low as $0. Visit get.dunfirst.com/podcast to learn more. That's get.dunfirst.com/podcast to learn more. Done. Turn ADHD into your strength.
So, how to deal with this feeling? We're just going to call it a feeling. It's not anxiety. It's not your gut. It's just a bad feeling. For me, I think a big piece was going for a walk. Like getting out of it was huge for me. Before I did anything to just like deep breathing. I know it sounds so cliche, but just like to get out of that moment, like walk around the block, deep breathing, stretch, anything to just disconnect. It helped put in perspective. And then the other big thing for me was the what else could be happening in this. And then obviously the clear one of just talking about it, being upfront with whoever is involved if it doesn't resolve itself within that time period.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's like, first is when you feel this way, your inclination is to be reactive. So you label that. I'm just being reactive right now, and then this is the way I'm reacting. Then give yourself to step back and say, how would I proactively handle this situation? And I love your example of going for a walk because science has shown repetitive movement really helps you see whatever you're going through more clearly, to gain that clarity in what you're searching for. So walking, I like to play tennis. I go to the tennis wall and I just hit that ball back and forth. The most recent miracle I found is a little bike under your desk. If you're just cycling as you're sitting at your desk, you'll get so much more clarity than just looking at a screen.
Oh my God, so, the worst.
Actually, that's probably the worst thing you can do, is staring
worst.
at a screen or staring at your phone or staring at a wall, like staring at anything. Get some movement into your body that's repetitive, kind of mindless movement, and then you'll be able to think more proactively about all of this. What we want to avoid is that knee-jerk reaction, which I've done millions of times. I'm sending that text or that angry email or getting on the phone with someone. First, I just have to step back and just think, what is the clarity that I'm trying to gain here?
It's really important because I agree. We're all like immediately want to jump to the reaction, especially when you have been burned in the past. It's easy to be like, well, F this. I'm going to tell them like, this is over. I don't want to be with them, or make an accusation that they did X, Y, or Z. All of that needs to take a backseat for a minute. Even if your intuition is telling you that they are cheating on you or doing something terrible, take that beat. And when we talked to Nikki Novo about this, like she was saying with intuition and why people like rush to want an answer is because we're so uncomfortable just sitting in the unknown. And the reality is you're going to find out soon enough. Like if someone's ghosting you, you're going to find out within 1 to 2 days if they're ghosting you. If someone is cheating on you or you feel that, like keep having those conversations of why you're feeling that way. Eventually you will find out. So yes, of course you don't want to go like months and months being in this anxious or am I just like trusting my gut situation. But I think giving a little breathing room, it's actually just going to help overall in the big picture scheme of things.
Yes. On the flip side of this, though, is time box your breathing room. You don't want to become avoidant either, which I've overcompensated on. I go, oh, it's probably nothing. I'm just overthinking this. I'm just not like what I did in my previous relationship. The first time I felt the inclination to go through his phone, I was like, no, it's fine. I'm just overthinking. I'm overreacting. And then I gave myself too many months of breathing room before addressing it again. So time box that. I say 24 hours is probably good. Give myself a night to sleep on this, to go for a walk, to hit that ball, whatever it may be. And then make a promise to yourself that you will revisit.
I don't think I realized that you had that intuition or feeling like months before it actually happened.
It's all in hindsight because there was one time he was in the shower and his phone was on our bed. And I thought, I have this urge to go through his phone right now. I really have an urge. Something's off. And that was probably like 3 or 4 months before I found out.
So your body was telling you that you were feeling something for sure.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And I think, that's like really the takeaway of this is when you're feeling it, listen to what you're feeling. Your body really does know.
It's not an answer.
And again, it's not an answer. Yes. I don't want people to take away of my body feels off and they're cheating on me. Like that isn't what we're saying. Your body feels off. That means it's either something you need to work through with your partner.
Yes.
Or something you need to work through with yourself. That's what it means.
And listen, even if they're not cheating, something's off in the relationship. You're feeling uneasy about something.
Yep.
And it may not be as dramatic as them fucking someone else.
Yeah.
It still deserves to be addressed.
And when we say like something's off in the relationship, I think people hear that as, oh, it's not going to work out. It's not meant to be.
Oh, no.
I don't think we're saying that either. It just means that you have a need that is unmet in some way.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, our partners are not mind readers. They don't understand, especially in early stages. They don't understand. My partner probably didn't think anything if like he waited an hour and he didn't text me back. But like for me, that was, so anxiety provoking. But people do not react the same way at all. So you have to tell them what you need and what is important to you. And then only can they act.
Yes. Give your partners that opportunity to do so.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for this question. It's a hard question to ask, but I'm sure a question many of us wonder all the time. And if you want to get your questions answered like this person, you can get it answered pretty fast if you give us a rating and review in Apple Podcasts, 5 stars. And in the body of your review, you can ask the question there. Or if you want to do the old-fashioned way, you can email us hello@dateablepodcast.com, or you can DM us on Instagram @dateablepodcast.
See you next week.
Bye. The Dateable Podcast is part of the Frolic Media Network. Find more podcasts you'll love at frolic.media/podcasts. You can follow us on Instagram @dateablepodcast and visit dateablepodcast.com for access to all the episodes and our premium programs. Also, make sure to subscribe today if you haven't already on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform, so you are the first to get all the latest episodes. And most importantly, stay dateable.